I'm certain it's 7 o'clock. We're always already a few minutes past that. So before we can get back to the agenda, we have to take the non-agenda speakers. Carl Muhammad and Terry McIntyre, would you please come to the opposing podiums? The next two speakers are Tommy Walker and Curtis Sherrod. Please be ready to come up to the podiums so we can minimize the time. Mr. McIntyre, go ahead. Start, please.
Good evening. My name is Terry McIntyre, and I wish to talk about proactive preventative measures for high school football, good health, and practices. To make these practices A-rated, we need 5 things. 1, we need cooling tubs. We need to make them mandatory at every high school that has tackle football. Number 2, King David testing, which is a concussion protocol associated with the Mayo Clinic. It's a 2-minute rapid number naming assessment. Current clients include the NHL, the CFL, Ohio State University, University of Florida, University of Pennsylvania, University of Miami, University of Washington, University of Delaware. The third thing we need is a 4-way neck machine, which is made by Rogers Athletic. This strengthens the neck and supports muscular structure of the head, which lessens impact and thus reduces the chance of severe concussion. 4, and this is pretty important, wet bulb globe thermometer. It is more accurate, measures the heat, stress, in direct sunlight, which takes into account temperature, humidity, wind speed, sun angle, and cloud cover, also referred to as solar radiation. This is different from a heat index, which only monitors temperature and humidity and is calculated for shady areas. And 5th, we need to put all our football players in the best helmets available. The current one is Visus 1. It is rated number 1 by the NFL and the NFL Players Association, and number 2 by Virginia Tech Helmet Lab, which is the standard of research in this country. I don't know if the district is allowed to make bulk-wide purchases or not, but it would be something to consider. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Carl Muhammad, Tommy Walker, Curtis Sherrod, any of you here?
Yes.
Mr. Muhammad, go ahead.
Carl Muhammad. I wanted to say a clear example of our difficulty is that when Representative Crusoe came up in, he talked about every child evidently inside of Palm Beach County, but he excluded the African-American child. And that's being noticed by our community at all turns right now, and I'm hoping that we will fix that. Now, as we work feverishly inside of our community to try to be able to assist you in your efforts in trying to repair the same Florida statute that the Holocaust is talking about, Florida Statute 1003.42H, we have developed a bookstore. If we call it a non-immigrant hospital. And I really do want to thank, during the summer we had Dr. Robinson to attend, we had Ms. Andrews to attend, and we had Brian Knowles from the African and African American Studies Department. And we're doing things inside of our community, and I think many times people don't really understand how difficult this equation is. But we're still reaching out to you, Ms. Brill and Ms. Whitfield and Ms. McQuinn, and of course you, Mr. Barberary and Chuck. We need you to come by the bookstore because you can't teach something that you don't know. And this information that we're bringing forward is something new and refreshing for everyone. But I'm hoping that as we continue to prepare ourselves for this next fiscal school year, we possibly might do some refreshing our vocabulary. You know, inside of Palm Beach County, we've been always utilizing the word equity, expectations, disparity, and I really don't know what happened to the idea of the task force. I know with the changing of the superintendent so many times, I know it got lost in the mix, but I wish the rest of you board members would take some look at that, because, you know, we just got an award for best practices in the budget. But in the deficit model that our children, African-American children, are attending, you know, while you were receiving an A rating at one time, we was only graduating 22% of our children. So these are problems that we are having inside of our community. We're not just starting. We've always been started. We just would like if some of you would come into our community and possibly engage with some of us that are already on this journey. And before I go, I really do want to thank you, Ms. Andrews. The crowd really were pleased with some of the comments and some of the things that you had to say, and some of the pathways that you are proposing that we're going to move forward in. And I'm hoping that we can make that connection with the rest of you, because we're not enemies. We're all friends, and we're all on the same team. We're all trying to make Palm Beach County better than Dade, Broward, and Duval, and all the rest of the counties. And I understand the degree of difficulty. But stop by the Third Eye Bookstore. It's located at 411 Rosemary Avenue. and check out the content of the books that are located inside of there, and I can assure you that it will help you in your efforts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening, Tommy Walker. I'm a first time, and I was pretty nervous until that state representative from District 89 came up here. That's our struggle. He mentioned everybody but me. He mentioned everybody but my community. And that's the struggle that we have been faced with the mandate. The black community is watching this board on how we're going to handle the Mr. Latson situation. And as Mr. Ridley just said, we got to organize, and we got to do better. And I know the superintendent has passed it down to the board, and sooner or later we're going to make a decision. So when you put that back on the board, you're going to see the black community coming out just as the Jewish community is coming out. So I'm going to say that for a later date. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I entered the school system back in the early 60s. Segregation came in 69. I graduated Palm Beach Garden High School in 1975. Now we fast forward to 1994 when the state of Florida said they miseducated African Americans. 1994. Now, before we go to July 24th, 2019, let me tell you, my wife and I raised 6 kids in our house. 5 of them went on to get college educations. I don't owe nobody but the IRS. We have 4 masters, 1 bachelor's. I know what can be done if you put your mind to it. It's been 25 years. If we go ahead on and fast forward to July 24, 2019, 25 years. And as the representative didn't mention us, that make us invisible. It's a situation that has no money behind it, but as this board, we keep coming and we keep talking. I've been on this journey for about 5 years now. And I think that this county, this district, has made some great strides in the infusion of African and African American studies. And I think that if we all get together, now see, Brother Carl be talking about the third eye. I see it one way, you might see it one way out of one of your eyes, but that third eye sees it all. That third eye is the truth. And I'm hoping that this year that we can all come together and continue the movement and the strides and the accolades that we've already accomplished. So I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Curtis Sherrod, Brad Johnson. Diane Hammond. Mr. Johnson, you want to go to the other podium?
Good evening. My name is Diane Hammond. 3 minutes is a short time to tell a story of a years-long nightmare. I provided you with a communication from a district administrator that explained that she was tired of me because I asked for so many meetings and I sent so many emails. And I stand very proudly before you and say, I sure did. I sure did. And the reason is because in 4 years, I asked, how is this decision in the best interest of my child? For 4 years, I asked that question. In 4 years, I got one answer. And that answer, to me, who is not an attorney, would be a due process trigger. The answer was, your child should go to the reason it's in the best interest of your child to attend that school is because your child is zoned for that school. No, that is not a reason. And every child in this district, my child, your child, the child of the people who worked against my child, they deserve to be looked at as what's in the best interest of their child. Beginning 8th grade, ninth grade, I'm sorry. At 5'6", 105 pounds, the adjustment was so poor for my child that she was homeschooled and reintroduced a few times. And I'm not saying that the school was that bad. My daughter was unable to adjust. Okay, so I'm not saying the school did terrible things. I'm saying it wasn't working for my daughter to the point that I kept taking her out and trying her in. I took her to psychiatrists. 1 year later, and I applied for reassignment, which was always declined. 1 year later, she weighed 88 at 5'6". This is a weight loss of 17 or 18 pounds. So the person who complains about me, I don't understand how she's in this field. Would she watch her child lose 18 pounds and turn into somebody who looks like a skeleton? It's not right. And I'm so very proud that I fussed and I fussed and I fussed, although it didn't do me very much good. Because when my daughter was 88 pounds at 5'6", my husband and I decided we needed to actually get into that area of that school so she could get in. And I made it perfectly clear, because people who know me know that's what I do. I make things clear and I'm blunt, and that's it. So I told him, okay, I'm going to move into the district of that school. So I did. We got a little rental place, but we kept our home. So armed with the documents necessary for that school, my husband presented her for enrollment or admission or whatever. Oh, man, I get too far. All right, the story continues.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson. After Mr. Johnson, would Madeline Goldberg please come up to the podium? Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Fenoy. My name is Brad Johnson. I've been a teacher in the district for 20 years. Tonight I'd like to talk just for a minute about legacy, recognition of legacy, and naming of schools. If I may, though, begin with a legacy of 3 loved ones who are important in my life and passed away recently. My wife, Gloria Johnson, was a very hard worker. She would sometimes study for hours at a time to improve her English and language skills, and she achieved her goal of becoming a substitute teacher in the district. My father, Dan Johnson, was in the recognition business for 40 years, and he set a great example for me in many ways. Very hardworking and loving man. My mother, Kay Lindner, loved life. She lived life to the fullest, and she had a positive attitude even in the face of challenging situation. We all have people that we look up to, and we are inspired by their legacy and their lives. And you've named many schools, many buildings for people, and I would just ask you to consider to take it to the next level in terms of recognition, and considering Mr. Holland, for example, the man for whom this building is named, and Mr. Fulton. William Holland, if I may read from Elliot Kleinberg's article in the Palm Beach Post, Mr. Holland, African-American lawyer, who had fought for his son, William Jr., to become a student at Northborough Elementary in West Palm Beach. That was denied. School board members argued that Holland's designated school for African Americans was closer, but Holland said that school was substandard. Holland was the county's first African American lawyer, was an attorney for half a century, and he didn't stop at schools. He successfully integrated golf courses, department stores, restaurants, and restrooms on Florida's Turnpike. Along the way, he faced death threats. His homes were pelted with eggs, fruits, bottles, and explosives, and someone killed his fish with acid. It got so bad that Mr. Holland could not obtain life insurance. In '63, he did get his son admitted to what was then all-white Palm Beach Junior High School. I wish I could tell you more about Mr. Fulton. I wish there was information about Mr. Fulton in the lobby. My daughter attended Elbridge Gale Elementary, had a great experience there. She's now in college and doing well. When the school opened, of course, lots of information about Reverend Gale. But I just think that people, when they're in the office or walking the halls and they could see on a mural or plaque, or as we read words on memorials, they catch our attention. Contrary to what's perceived, everyone is not on their phone all the time. And I don't even think that a statue of Mr. Holland and his son would be too much. Thank you for your time. Good evening.
Thank you. Madeline Goldberg, Garrett Kenai, After Madeline Goldberg and Garrett Kenai, Carrie Alderman and Kelly Cooper are next. State your name for the record, sir.
Yes, Garrett Kenai. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed members of the board. As I mentioned, my name is Garrett Kenai, and I'm representing the proud school bus drivers and other workers that work for Palm Beach County School District. We are coming to you tonight to inform you of unfair work practices in the workplace. One that happens often is changing of school bus routes. This begins on bid day, which for those of you that don't know what bid day is, that's the day that bus drivers pick their routes and continues to the end of the year. I'm not referring to adding children to the route. That's going to happen. We know that children move throughout the year, and it happens. No, I'm referring to adding schools to routes after bid day, subtracting schools and adding other schools, making routes easier for chosen people, that's friends and family, or changing routes because you revealed wrong practices, making admin upset about what you said. I know what the next thing is going to be that comes out of your mouth. Routes are subject to change. We hear that a lot, but all year long. And should it be a route different from what you picked on bid day? Let's look at the wording for a moment. Routes are subject to change. In our bylaws and rules, this is very vague and a gray statement. Hard to define the meaning of, and when you do find something, it's not very clear. All I'm asking tonight is help us find some answers to a problem that's been going on for a long time. Don't be the people who tell us we're shorthanded and can't do anything about it, or this is happening to you because those people are having a lawsuit. Or my personal favorite, that sucks for you. This is your time to shine. Show us your ability to make change happen. For this reason, we voted all of you into office. Help us find a solution to the problem that both parties or sides will be happy with. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Alderman, Kelly Cooper. Good evening. State your name for the record, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, board and Dr. Fennoy, superintendent. My name is Carrie Alderman, and I have worked for the school district for 24 years as a bus driver and a bus driver too. I'm here today to let you all know that I've been a member of the Florida Public Service Union for 23 years. And I have been here negotiating with the district for as long as I've been working here. And I have never seen, this has been the worst year I have ever seen. Just let me say this, at the negotiating table, we agreed to the 3% across the board. We didn't have a problem with that because we asked for a little more than that for our workers, for our mechanics, our bus drivers, our bus attendants, and for our custodians and food service workers. We are all under the same umbrella with the union, in the union. And all we was asking was that everybody be honest and agree to some of the things that we asked in negotiation for the, as they say, the quality of life, and that everybody can afford to live on the salary that we deserve. One, the district staff is playing hardball on the economic equalities of the life issues that we have talked about. Everything we ask for, they say no. That is why we are still in the negotiations right now, because they refuse to bend a little bit, but they want us to bend on the other side and accept the things that they're asking. But they don't want to meet us halfway. So now, this is the year for us to stand. This is the year for us to make a difference. And I know each and every one of you all are saying to yourself, what do you want us to do? We need you all to bite your workers here in the Palm Beach County School District. We need help. We have people that's working and don't have a place to live, can't pay their light bills, can't pay their water bills on the salary. But we agreed to that 3% across the board because everyone else agreed to it. Also, you all should want us to be treated fairly and understand where the drivers, the mechanics, and the custodians and the food service workers are coming from. And I thank you for your time. And once again, as everyone else said, we, the one put you all in them seats that you are sitting in. Thank you very much.
Kelly Cooper, Neil Schiller, Ronald Laporte. Go ahead, ma'am. State your name for the record, please.
Good evening, school board and the superintendent, Dr. Fenoy. My name is Kelly Cooper, and I've been a district employee since 2011. Believe me, when I first came to the school district, it was the most prestigious and honorable position that I think I could have held. I hold a bachelor's in health administration and an AA degree in interdisciplinary studies, but I choose to be a mentor for kids. My husband asks me all the time, why did you stay and take care of the kids? But he's a mentor also, so he already knows the answer. I'm here today to humbly beseech you and ask you to help us down at the South Compound. There's unfairness and there's inequality being felt by my coworkers. We've had 3 meetings to discuss with management on what could be done to change the aura and, our community preparedness for doing better with the management. There are things like stalking. People can't have a cup of coffee on the grounds without being asked if they're selling or doing this or doing that. People are getting written up, and they come out of the meeting without representation and still do not know why they've even been called into the room at all. There's also people, while they're in the meeting, being demeaned. They're being called names, derogatory names, and their nationalities mentioned, and this is the reason why. We also have coordinators who act upon us because they're being displayed in a manner where they have to do this. And they don't want to do it, but they also don't want to lose their jobs. The morale down there is divided. We are no longer one team with a lot of camaraderie. We're separated. We don't feel as though we can come to work and actively do our job safely. This presents accidents. It presents people who are scared, and like the young lady said, we're coming here to work for a certain amount of money, but we also want to be treated and respected as people. Our compound, the South Compound, does not have that. Over 49 people, and then maybe 100 backing some of the coordinators that have been previously moved for different reasons, and they're the people that help us. We've all come together and put our jobs on the line, how we get our money to take care of our families, just to stand up and say no more. So we're asking that you guys look into some of the grievances. We have grievances, and according to School Board Policy 319, we are supposed to be able to verbally talk about sexual harassment or any other type of harassment and have something done. We've initiated a Class Grievance Act which we have met, and I repeat, with management 3 times already, and to no avail. We don't know what's going to happen. So we again come this year and bid our routes, going into a timid environment, a scared environment, and we don't know what's going to happen to us day to day. We ask you to do something about it, and please help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Neil Schiller and Ron Laporte. Again, Neil Schiller and Ron Laporte.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair, school board members. My name is Neil Schiller. I'm an attorney with Saul, Ewing, Arnstein, and Lair. That's 515 North Flagler Drive in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm here tonight representing Learnit Educational Systems. I previously had sent you correspondence this morning. I'd like to first thank you and district staff for pulling the item off of the agenda tonight, for hearing our concerns with one of the companies that got the award. We'd also like to express our concern that this item come back at your next special meeting, which I believe is July 31st. Learnit Systems, my client, is the incumbent provider of these services. Their contract terminates August 10th. And so to avoid any disruption in services, we hope that your staff can work diligently. We think that we've laid out a lot of the issues for them, that they can make a very quick decision and bring this back on July 31st. Again, we don't believe that the company has any experience in providing service to private schools, no resources, as their corporate headquarters is a single-family home in Miami. At least 3 of the teachers in their proposal did not consent to their resumes being included in that company's proposal, and very little financial stability for that company. We again hope you'll agree with us that they don't meet the minimum standards of the RFP or qualifications of the RFP, and we hope that on the 31st you will move on without them. Thank you so much for the opportunity tonight, and just like to voice my opposition to the early start date too. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Laporte.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, superintendent and every official of the school district. My name is Ronald Laporte. I am the lead organizer for FPSU. I'm here tonight to talk to you on the calendar date also. There is an expression that said the work on the water do not understand or do not feel the heat of the work under the sun. I'm here to talk to you regarding the bus drivers, the paraprofessionals, the ECPs, the food service workers, and custodians who work. Fortunately enough, our custodian working 12 months, so they don't have to worry about the date when the school starts. But the bus drivers, food service, paraprofessionals do. During the summertime, they don't know what to do to pay their bills, their light bills, the water bills, their rent. For the most part, it's very hard for them to do so. By pushing the date to 5 days, that will cause them to lose an extra paycheck. I remember when I was in New York, when I took the train, and there were like some homeless people that come down the train asking or begging for money. They usually say, okay, do not look down on me because you can be like just a paycheck away from being homeless like me. It's exactly the same thing that can happen to our members here also, our bus drivers, our paraprofessionals, our food service workers. Some of them during the summertime, they don't have the luxury of working during the summertime. That's like 8 weeks for them not to work. I have 2 young kids. I understand the parents who come here who say that they would like their kids to have extra time. My child is 9 and 7. They would like to have some extra time at home also. They would like to stay home and get up late during the night, the day, and go to bed late watching TV. They would like to do that if I don't have enough money to send them to summer camp. Some of the parents here, They don't have the luxury to take their spouse to a nice dinner because they don't work. They don't have the money to do so. Some of them, the good going out through them is to go to McDonald's or Burger King. That's all they can afford, and I am all for it too. But all I'm asking the board, please understand what is going on, because our workers, they work which is sitting under the sun. They are not under the water. They are not fresh and lay down. The hardship is on them, and they are struggling very much to see if they can take care of their kids. As we are trying to open the school, some of them did not even have the money to send their kids to buy a pair of sneakers to send their kids to school as we speak right now. For that very reason, I'm against pushing back the date for the school. Keep it exactly the way it is right now so our members don't lose one extra paycheck. Thank you so much.
At our monthly school board meetings, we recognize the families of the employees that have passed away. So I'd like to take